Today we are pulling back the curtain on a topic that no one wants to face, and few are willing to discuss openly: the painful reality of cheating. If you've ever been cheated on, you're probably familiar with the whirlwind of emotions that follow: shock, betrayal, confusion, anger, and even self-blame. You might wonder if it was something you did or didn't do that led your partner astray. It's easy to fall into that trap, feeling embarrassed or thinking you weren't good enough to hold their loyalty. But here's a crucial truth you must understand. You cannot control someone else's actions or choices. If someone cheats, that's a reflection of them, not you. It's important to remember that no one simply wakes up one day and decides to cheat. There are almost always signs. Most people give subtle clues before crossing that line. And if we can recognize these red flags early enough, we empower ourselves to confront the issue head-on and potentially steer the relationship in a different direction. So today, we're diving into those signs. I'm going to share with you the 7 key warning signals that men often display before they cheat. Understanding these can help you navigate your relationship better and ultimately make informed decisions about your love life. But first, a quick introduction. I'm Faison, the founder of the Love and Relationships Division of the Brave Thinking Institute, where our mission is to empower people to create and live a life they truly love, including in their romantic relationships. I've spent over a decade coaching hundreds of women from around the globe, many of whom have had to face the gut-wrenching reality of infidelity in almost every case. When we reflect on their relationships, these women can point out red flags they noticed before the cheating occurred. Every single time there were signs. And today, I'm sharing the 7 most common ones with you, not so you can live in suspicion, but so that you can be proactive and address any issues before they escalate. Let's dive into the first one. 1. He picks unnecessary fights. One of the clearest signs that something is off is when your partner begins to pick unnecessary fights. Have you noticed that your once calm and collected boyfriend or husband has suddenly become irritable? Is he starting arguments over things that would never have bothered him before? This shift in behavior can be a red flag. Often it's a subconscious attempt to create distance in the relationship by making you the bad guy. He can ease his guilt over what he's thinking about, doing, or has already done. This type of behavior makes the relationship feel painful or uncomfortable, which can justify, in his mind, cheating or even leaving. If you're noticing a rise in conflict, it's time to have a serious conversation about what's really going on. 2. He becomes secretive with his phone. The second major sign to watch for: he increased secrecy with his phone. If your partner suddenly starts keeping his phone out of sight, taking calls in other rooms, or guarding it like it contains national secrets, that's cause for concern. Maybe he has 2 phones now, or maybe he's getting nervous every time a notification pops up. People who have nothing to hide typically don't hide anything. I remember when I was dating my now wife Irene. One evening while we were cooking together, my phone buzzed with a text. Without thinking, I asked her to read it to me. She was surprised because in her past relationships, the men had always been protective of their phones. That kind of sketchy behavior is a major red flag. If your partner is acting shady with his phone, it's definitely something to address. 3. You're not having sex anymore. Another telltale sign is a sudden lack of physical intimacy. If your once active sex life has taken a nosedive and he's showing little to no interest in rekindling that spark, it's a warning sign that something deeper could be wrong. Physical connection is a reflection of emotional intimacy. When the sex stops, it often signals a disconnection in the relationship. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean he's cheating, but it does mean that the relationship needs attention. If the issue isn't addressed, it can lead to a total breakdown. And yes, he may start looking for that physical connection elsewhere, for he tries to gaslight you. One of the more toxic signs is when your partner begins to gaslight you. Gaslighting is when someone manipulates you into doubting your own perception of reality, making you feel like you're the crazy one. If he's constantly flipping the script, making you out to be paranoid, unreasonable or untrusting, especially when his stories don't add up, it's time to take a step back. He may do this to shift the focus away from his questionable behavior and onto your supposed insecurities. Don't let him get away with it. Trust your instincts, because if something feels off, it probably is. 5. He's vague and mysterious about his whereabouts. A loving partner usually wants to share their life with you. They'll tell you where they've been, what they've been doing and who they were with. When someone suddenly becomes vague and evasive about their time away from you, it's another red flag. If simple questions like, "Where did you eat?" or "What did you do?" are met with defensiveness or irritation, something might be amiss. Sure, some people are naturally more private, but when this shift in behavior comes with secrecy and anger at innocent questions, it's time to pay attention. 6. He tells you about past infidelities. Listen closely to the stories he tells, especially in the early stages of the relationship. A lot of men who cheat will openly talk about past infidelities, as if they're just sharing old tales. They'll tell you about how they cheated on their ex because they didn't know how to break up with her. They may frame these stories as harmless, but what they're really doing is laying out a disclaimer. Later, when the same thing happens in your relationship, they can fall back on, "Well, I told you I was like this." If a man tells you early on that he has a history of cheating, believe him and take caution before getting too invested. 7. Your intuition tells you something is off. Lastly, never ignore your intuition, that gut feeling you get when something doesn't feel right. It's there for a reason. Often, we try to rationalize our way out of what we already know deep down because we don't want to face the discomfort or pain of the truth. But your intuition is a powerful tool. If something feels off, it's worth investigating. Trust yourself enough to ask the tough questions and have those uncomfortable conversations. As they say, the quality of your life is often determined by the number of uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have. In conclusion, while these signs don't automatically mean your partner is cheating, they are worth paying attention to. If you notice any of these behaviors, it's important to address them directly. You deserve to be in a relationship where trust, communication and mutual respect are the foundation. By being proactive, you can either get the relationship back on course or recognize when it's time to walk away and find something better. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced these signs before in a relationship? Share your stories in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and here's to creating a love life you truly deserve, one filled with honesty, passion and connection.